Well, howdy there, everybody. How are you doing today? I thought, you know what? I was tired. I did not feel like doing a video. And then I was like, you bum, you got to do a lesson video this week. So here we are. I'm not going to cop out on you guys. I promised these weekend lessons, and they're going down. So if you want to grab tabs for today's lesson, you totally can. That's linked down below. You can check out my free guitar course if you're feeling like it. Because today we're going to talk about making your pentatonics, just like a little secret that I use to hopefully make your pentatonics more exciting and less like the typical pentatonic scale, but just to me like a cool way of viewing them. So we're gonna dive onto this one. It might not be the longest lesson, but like I said, I want to make sure that I'm keeping my word and doing these weekend lessons like I said I would. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. So essentially, this is what we're working with. Here's the idea, and I'm gonna break it down and kind of go through what I'm thinking about here. Or something to that effect. My hands are pretty shot today, so whew, you're gonna have to endure with the bad playing. But so here's the idea of what's happening. So essentially, I did a very similar video a while back. I can't remember what I called it, but it was about a similar concept. But here's a different idea inside of that concept. So essentially, I'm viewing 3 pentatonic boxes at the same time. And a lot of times people ask me, how do you, play a pentatonic scale and make it not sound like a pentatonic scale or make it sound less like a scale? And I always tell people, you get out of line. Don't play the stuff in order anymore. The more out of order you get, typically the more less like a scale it sounds. A scale is very much an ordered process. And I truly don't believe that a scale is intended to be played that way. I'm not saying there can't be licks, where it'll sound good to play it in order, but overall, it's one of those things that, they're just giving you the template. It's like, giving you a map to somewhere, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of different roads that get to your destination, but that doesn't mean that you have to just stick to this one road. It has all these different ways. It's like, well, maybe take this road. Maybe, so that's kind of the way I view it. And I basically look at it as I'm borrowing notes from different boxes of the pentatonic scale. So let's go through the 3 boxes that I'm viewing here. I guess technically 4, no 3, that I'm kind of looking at. Nope, 4. Told you, man, I'm fried. But so essentially, I'm viewing this as the first part of the lick as box 5 and box 1. And then the next one is box 1 and box 2. So I guess it is technically 3 boxes is how I'm viewing this. Alright, so let's break down exactly what I'm doing here. Now, I think it's essential if you don't know your pentatonic boxes, this could be a little bit tricky. I'm just going to play them. I'm not going to break down the boxes for you, but what I'm viewing here is essentially box 5, box 1, and box 2 here in a minute. So box 5 would look like this. Box 1 is up here. And then box 2, of course. You can use your pinky in there if you want it. Once I get past the 12th fret, I use a lot more of these 3 fingers because my hand just doesn't fit up here. But so those are the areas I'm pulling these notes from. So a little slow, it looks like this. And basically, the descending is slightly different than the ascending, which I'll explain that here in a minute. But we're starting right here, and the way I'm seeing this is I have a shared note between box 5 and box 1, a note that is only in box 5, and a note that is only in box 1. And like I said, I'm viewing like more of a chunk of the fingerboard, not just a box anymore. So I'm not just strictly thinking like, oh, I'm in box 5, I'm in box 1. I'm kind of viewing like a large section of the fingerboard as the pentatonic scale. So, you get to the point where maybe you don't see it like this. I'm seeing it more, these more like cascading kind of patterns through the scale. But anyways, 12 on the low E string to 10 on the A, and then 14 on the A. So this is just an E minor triad, basically. And my picking, I'm going to be going down, down, up for this. So I'm using economy picking. And And all I do is I really take this shape and I'm moving it through the pentatonic scale. So in order to make the scale fit inside of the key and the actual, I'm sorry, to make the pattern fit inside the scale and the key, you have to know what notes are part of the scale. So we have that first one. And what I do here is I do a little shift and I go to my ring finger now. And I'm going to go 12 on the A, 9 on the D, and then 14 on the D. So these are still just chords and arpeggios, but I'm just viewing it more as the pentatonic scale at this point. Okay, now I'm going to do the same shape again, starting on the D. So I go 12 on the D, then 9 to 14 on the G, and just sit there with one of them. Like, you don't need to go crazy, and if you're having a hard time with the picking or just the patterns, just focus on very small sections of it. I think the picking, the economy style picking helps because it's a 3-note sequence. Anytime you have a 3-note sequence, your picking is going to cycle, and each time you do, watch, I go down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The notes are changing, so it's not as consistent of a picking pattern. So when I go down, down, up, I do that on every single one. Overall, it's more consistent, and your pick is always moving in the right direction. Now here I'm going to do a little shift back. I go to 12, I go back to my middle finger, and I'm going to go to 10 on the B, and then 15. So all the way through this, like I said, if you look at it, shared note, box 5, box 1. Shared note, box 5, box 1. Shared note, box 5, box 1. Almost sounds like the Miracle Man solo. So the next one, we're just going to simply move that shape down. We're going to go 12 on the D, 10 on the B, and 15 on the high string. Okay? So sit there and get that, and get to where you can ascend it and descend. I say it all the time, but anything you can ascend, you better be able to descend. So get to where you can ascend it. Now, when you're descending, your picking changes. So I go down, up, up at this point. So I'm still utilizing that economy style of picking, but this is just going to help with the flow again. It depends. I feel like alternate picking is a more aggressive style of picking, and economy has that flow to it. So it depends on what you want. If you want a very aggressive style, then maybe alternate is the one that you should lean to. But on a lick like this, I prefer the flow to it. So just work on descending it. Okay. Now instead, what I did is I transitioned up, and what I did to practice this stuff is I did this starting all the way at the bottom, where you really gotta stretch your hands out for these, all the way. It gets pretty intense, but like I said, I did them everywhere, and I got to where I could just kind of freely, move through them. And when I wanted that sound to stop being so pentatonic, like you said, there's nothing wrong with your rock lick. Go with it, rock out with those. But sometimes you don't want that sound. You want to, still have remnants of it. But I like that because it fits with all those rock licks. So you can break it up or keep it, kind of boxy if you want. Oh, maybe. Like I said, sorry, my fingers are just shot for you can see the calluses are peeling off of them. It's been a lot of playing today. But anyway, so when I descend it, I do it different though. So I wanted to give it to you this way. That way you had two different versions to kind of mess around with. Like I said, practice the first one, ascend and descend it with the same style. But what I did in the opening lick is I went like this. Which is a much quicker pace to this one. I'm not doubling up on any of the strings, so the lick is moving quicker. So you really got to have that economy picking really going. But what I'm doing here is same concept, but I'm using box 2 in box 1. So this is a note that is only in box 2, then box 1, and then a shared note. So the last time I was starting with the shared note and going, the box behind it, box front. Now I'm actually kind of basically doing it in reverse. So now I go straight to the G. So this is actually a much quicker pace version of the lick. So, okay? So I'm going to go which I'm doing a pull-off now. So I go up. You can do the economy style if you want on this one. So I go down, pull off, up, up. On 16, pull off to 12, 14. So still all pentatonic. It has a different vibe to it now. Now, this one I reach up to 17 and 12 and do a pull-up. Then I go to 15, resolving it to 12. So I'm utilizing a lot more pull-offs because it's a quicker paced lick. And it ends up being almost like a sweep. So we have... And this is really cool because you can move this in different ways. Like a lot of times I like to build up and I'll move it chromatically. You know, then you kind of, you have this little like tension every second. But I'm telling you, mess around with those. It opens up a lot on the fingerboard. Just go really slow with it. You can try us-ending the one that we descent. It just gets where you can cycle it. That's a good idea right there. Obviously, I need to practice this too, but there's that one. Like I said, I'm going to make sure to do good on these lesson videos like I said I'm going to. So thank you guys, as always, for all of the support. Get the tabs down there below. And I'll see you Monday with a new lesson, and like I said, I'll see you Monday with a new video, and then next week, I'll hit you with a better lesson, I promise. So, I'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your weekend, and keep rocking, home diggity dogs. Pop! Oh, and I thought I'd show this at the end. I've been playing the gold top so much, and I'm practicing standing up a lot, but you can see some of the lacquer or whatever is starting to chip off the guitar, because it's been getting a lot of miles on this thing. So I'm out of here, guys. Bye.